Well, hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Akshat here, your host, back with another video. And today we are going to solve the Anomaly machine on the HackSmarter platform. It is a medium rated Active Directory machine and it is a multi machine, which means we have a domain controller and a web server. So let me just give you a glimpse of what it is, what the machine is about, and let's just see the objective and scope first. As you can see, I've already started my machine, but I haven't tried this machine yet. So the objective says the core objective is to demonstrate the full impact of a successful network intrusion by achieving a domain administrator privileges over the client's Active Directory environment. The test will simulate a motivated external attacker's progression from an initial foothold to complete administrative control. Basically, we have to gain an administrative privilege on the domain controller. Now, there are two critical IP addresses which are included. It is a hardened Ubuntu server, which is our initial foothold target, and the primary domain controller, which is the final privilege escalation target for us. Now, let's just get started without any further delays. Let me just download the VPN config file, and we will make a directory for this machine. We will name it as Anomaly, and then we cd into the directory and then clear this up. We will move the VPN config file to this directory and clear this up. Now we will connect to the VPN using OpenVPN, and the command is fairly simple. Now, I would like to rename my terminal just because I like keeping it more organized on my terminals, so I can switch over easily uh, without any further delay or something. I'll just name it as VPN, and this terminal would be for my scans. So guys, I'll be using Ruscan as usual. In all my videos I've been using Ruscan just because I really like using Ruscan, and the syntax for it is fairly simple. So you specify Ruscan and tag A, and then you specify the IP. First I would like to scan the domain controller, and we paste the IP here, and dash dash is passing over the results to nmap. And if you know your nmap flags well, the dash capital A flag is for throwing all the enumeration scripts at it. Now we can hit enter, and right off the bat we see port 53, which is DNS, port 80, which is a web server, port 88 is the Kerberos, as it is a domain controller. We do see some ports open. With this running, guys, I will also, on my right side, I will split the terminal and scan the web interface or the web server, and we will be using the same Ruscan for it. You could go for any other network scanning tool you would like to go with. This is the syntax, and right we see a port 22 open, which is SSH port, and another interesting port is the port 8080, which is basically a web server again in this case. Now we will go ahead and have a look at the web server on port 8080, and let's see what is running in there for us. And port 8080. Okay, so this is a Jenkins instance. Now, this seems like pretty old Jenkins instance. If you guys are in the security field for a while, you would know and you would notice that Jenkins, which is the CI/CD to website which used to be used by the developers a lot, and even now it is being used a lot. Now, this Jenkins used to be a lot more insecure back then around 2016, 2017, around that era, and that was really insecure. Now, we do not have a username and a password here in this scenario. Let's just wait for our scans and see what anything else do we get it here. Okay, so we don't get anything else on the web server. Let me generate the host file as well. So I'll generate the host file using the nxc command. You could do that by directly adding your host name to the your etc host file. So basically, people who do not know about etc host, it is basically used to resolve your DNS IP or the IP to the domain name. Generate host file, and the command is this. I'll just generate it. It will take hardly 30 seconds, not even that, maybe. Yeah. So it is generated, and I will just scat that out, and I am going to copy this right here and add this to my etc host. Let me just add this to my etc host here. Okay, so it doesn't copy it really well. I will copy this again and copy selection, etc host, and yep, now I think this should be good. Yeah, it is good now. Now see, let's just try something with the default credentials, maybe, since we do not have any uh, credentials which are given on the machine. So we just try, let's see, something as admin, pretty default and pretty safe password. So let's try this. It is very important to try out different things, guys, because you never know really what works. So default credentials is something which I have seen really common, especially in CDF machines and boxes. It is very common. Trust me, guys. Let's try and see, guys. I told you this is okay. I was wrong. Don't quote me on that, but I was wrong here, maybe. Let's try with admin password. Okay, so it does not seem to work here. Maybe uh, admin and super secure password, something like admin again. I'll try this, and this time it worked. You see. Okay, so I think probably something I did wrong in that case. Now this is the admin user on the Jenkins server. Now we do have the context of this web Jenkins server as Ubuntu machine. That is why we would like to create a build, and then from there on we will get a reverse shell, and that is how I think this machine is going to go, in this direction. Not really sure, guys, but we are going to test it out together, guys. Now let's just create a job, and we will name it as rev underscore shell. Hit enter, and then we are, since it is a Linux box, we are going to execute shell here. Now we need to give it a reverse shell command, which I'll be getting it from the rev shell site, which is pretty common and known site. You specify your IP here, which would be, in our scenario, let me just see. Yeah, so this is our IP. let me just copy it right here and paste it here, and the port that I would like to go for is 9001. Let's try out with maybe, yep, this one. We can try with this. Let's see if this works. And we save this and we configure. First we start up our listener on a new terminal. I will name this as just terminal, and then we'll start our listener on 9001 port, and we configure the build, and it failed. Let's check why did it fail. Let's check the console output. Okay, so in our scenario, bin bash execute shell marked as failure. Maybe we can try something as Python. Maybe it might be present on this machine or not. Let's try, because this does not seem to work. Bin bash does not seem to work here, and since it is a Linux Ubuntu machine, so I think Python should be there. Now, don't quote me on this if it goes wrong. I am also trying this out. Let's try with this. You go here and we configure the build here in this case again, and then we paste it right here, save it up and build it. Now let's see if we do get a success. I think it is successful because it shows loading over here in progress. I think we should get a callback. Okay, and guys, we are successful. We were able to get a callback from the Jenkins instance. And let me just show who am I. We are the Jenkins user now. Now let's just see what is there. Let's just enumerate the machine. What exactly are we looking for? Not really sure in this scenario, but let's see if we find anything interesting. Let's go to cd slash. Let me do an ls. I'd like to enumerate manually. I don't use like automated stuff right off the bat. I just first try to check any interesting file or attack vector manually, and if I don't find that, then I go for something like WinPs or LinPs for this case, because it is a Linux machine. I don't do Linux machine like LinPs and WinPs. I don't like to run that exactly, just because these are not considered OPSEC safe. If OPSEC is your main motive, or stealth is the motive in a red team engagement, you would never really like to run automated scripts, because the things that automate for you are probably very easier to detect. Okay, so with that said, let's get back to the machine. uh, let's see /home. In the home directory, what is the user? There is Ubuntu. Let me try with this if this works. We do get permission denied. Okay, no worries. Let me check the, are we allowed to do a sudo -l here? Okay, so we do see uh, our user is able to run something, a file named in a file in user bin directory, which is named as router_config. Let's check what exactly it is. I'll do an lsla with this to check what exactly is this, a directory, is this a file, what exactly it is. Now we do see read, write, execute permissions for the root user. We do see we have execute permissions. So this is a binary, guys. Now let me just try and cat this out. Router underscore config. I'm pretty sure this is a binary. Now, uh, what exactly can we do with this? Let me just look up router underscore router config binary exploit or previous. Maybe could be our way, not really sure. But if it is there in sudo dash l, it is there for a reason, guys. Uh, Let me check Linux previous router exploitation. I don't think anything interesting would be present here from the first few things that I see here. I don't find this really useful in our scenario. Uh, Executable file previous. In Linux. Um, okay, let me just try something that comes to my mind. What if we do something as sudo and we specify this binary file and we do something as uh, who am I? Okay, this works. This works. We get a who am I as root here, guys. Now, what exactly we can do here is probably we could get an interactive shell. Let's try. Or do we need an interactive shell? Let me just try this again. Let's do ls/root. Okay, so uh, we do have user.txt here, which is our user flag, but I'm thinking of a way of how I can get to root in this scenario. Let me try this. What if we do sudo dash I for interactive? No, bash dash I, sorry. I think I think this is bash shell. Yes, exactly, guys. Now let me see. Yes, we are root, guys. Around in and around 20 minutes mark, we are root on the initial foothold machine. Now let me just go and see cd into the root directory and let's do an ls. We can find our user.txt file here. I will just cat that out, and I would suggest to you guys to try the machine on your own and not copy the user flag from here, because you learn a lot in the process. And here is our user flag. Let me just copy it and oh, come on. Yep. So yep, so I have saved it and I have submitted the flag we have successfully submitted the user flag now. So we have done with the user flag now. Let's just move to our Active Directory domain controller now. What exactly we need to do here is something that we need to figure out. Now, from a Linux machine or Linux standpoint, what can we do to a Active Directory domain? We do have, I think, I'm not really sure, we have HCKRB5 config. I did a machine which probably had a similar set of attack vector. Maybe we are right or maybe we are wrong, not really sure. Let me just make this full screen, by the way, so you could see this well. uh, Let me do an ls on etc. Let's see. I think we have something like krb as mm, yeah. So we do have krb5.conf and we have a key tab file as well. Now what exactly we can do, we can check this uh, cat slash etc slash krb5.conf. Okay, so we do have something in here. We have the domain controller machine host name and the domain name as well, which is basically we are having the realm here. And what is in there in the key tab, I think, slash etc slash krb5 dot key tab. Hmm. There is a user something like this, guys, but I don't seem to find this really clear. Let me see how we can see it in clear way, in a clear way. Exactly how to see the HCKRB5 dot key tab in clear Linux, in clear view in Linux. Okay, we can do klist dash k. That's interesting. I was not aware of this vector, is it? Klist dash k slash etc and then slash krb5 dot key tab. Now we do have this user not exactly credentials, but we got a username at least to try out. Now I do see we are reaching around the 25-26 minute mark probably, and I genuinely think that this is a natural stopping point, guys. Now from here, what I want you guys to do is go ahead and try this machine out on yourself, and do let me know in the comments that what exactly you were able to find from here and how you took it forward and compromised the domain. Well, with that said, do like, share, and subscribe, and do all the YouTube algorithm things. Do support the channel, guys. And if you find it useful, please consider subscribing. That is really important. Not just because of me, but if you find this useful. Now, with that said, thank you guys, and hope to see you in the next one soon. Thank you very much.